I'm Elia Liberté. As construction is well underway for the men's shelter here in Madison, what challenges it faces next?
City of Sun Prairie is responding to the housing crisis. I'm Tanasia Shaw, reporting on how Sun Prairie is making sure their residents know their rights.
And later, an executive order from President Trump to boost requirements for voting, why it won't have an impact on voters in Wisconsin. And we welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. Thank you so much for watching. Hundreds of men in Madison who experience homelessness could soon see a boost in services.
And the city has been working on a new men's shelter since the pandemic. Our Elia Liberté takes a look at the challenges the shelter is facing just to operate.
As the construction shows, it's a project well underway. But what tools are used to fund it once it opens?
I think the new shelter has a lot of potential to support our clients in a more holistic fashion.
Ferris is the manager of Porchlight Men's Shelter. Every day, he works with roughly 300 men who experience homelessness. He's ready for an upgrade to the current space.
The city and county funded the construction of the building, but we will be managing and operating it.
But there are challenges.
Days of a $600,000 shelter budget are over.
An increase in cost and an increase in need. That's what Jim O'Keefe, the community development director, says is making the men's shelter project difficult.
The number of people that are using the men's shelter has increased by more than threefold. The cost of operating that shelter has increased by fivefold.
The shelter on Bartillion Drive is set to help roughly 250 men experiencing homelessness in Madison. To do that, it will need roughly $3 million annually to operate. One-time federal funds from the pandemic helped with the project in the past, but now the money's run its course, leaving the shelter to look for alternatives in the private sector.
It's an ongoing need, so there'll need to be an ongoing revenue stream to support the operations.
But Ferris says the challenges don't end with funding. He says a capacity of 250 just isn't enough.
It's really disappointing as a person who, as a social servant who tries to support our clients every day.
O'Keefe also says that based on initial projections, about 50% of the revenue needed has been identified. Reporting in Madison, Elia Liberté, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. And the city hopes to have that shelter in service by this time next year.
Well, no one is hurt after a small plane veered off a runway. This happened in Fort Atkinson yesterday. An investigation found the pilot was trying to land when the wind caused the plane to swerve off the runway and into the grass. The plane only suffered some damage to the front tire cover. Other operations at the airport were not disrupted.
And now to the race for Wisconsin Supreme Court, the most expensive judicial race in U.S. history. You've likely seen the ads in the mail and on TV. The candidates are Susan Crawford, a circuit court judge in Dane County, and former Republican Attorney General Brad Schimmel. Elon Musk, the world's richest person and advisor to President Trump, has donated $14 million to the Schimmel campaign. He is also offering Wisconsinites $100 to sign a petition against so-called activist judges. Meanwhile, Crawford's campaign has spent more than $20 million in Wisconsin's 5 media markets. Nationally, pundits say this election is the first voter litmus test of President Trump's second presidency.
It has become a national bellwether for how Donald Trump is doing. And that has drawn Democrats eager to knock Donald Trump down, as well as Republicans wanting to stand by him.
The Wisconsin Elections Commission says voting is up 48% over the last Wisconsin Supreme Court race 2 years ago. Early voting runs through Friday. A new executive order from President Trump would change how Americans register to vote.
But it would have limited impact here in Wisconsin, as political reporter Will Keneally explains.
Yeah, so you may have heard about this executive order and wondered how it impacts Wisconsinites. Short answer, it won't.
There is a national form that can be used in multiple states.
It's that national form that President Trump wants to change, to require voters to prove their citizenship in order to register to vote. But there's a catch.
Right now, we're not allowed to use that form in Wisconsin.
That's because a local judge here in Wisconsin barred the state from using that form. It boils down to Wisconsin asks different questions of people looking to register to vote, questions that the national form doesn't cover.
In the Constitution, elections are designated as state-run. So there really is almost no federal role in elections.
Trump's order would affect the Federal Election Assistance Commission, which Dane County Clerk Scott McDonald says has limited oversight over what Wisconsin does. On top of that, Wisconsin allows voters to register on Election Day, which exempts the state from other federal voting laws.
We're a same-day voter registration state from way back in the day. So I don't expect this executive order at the end of the day to have really much of any effect on Wisconsin at all.
Reporting from the state capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Well, Will, thank you. Dry conditions now, but we could be in for some rain later in the week. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us as First Warn forecast. Alex?
And a good soaking rain, I'll add to that. Rain chances start tonight, but those best rain chances are going to be as we had past Friday and especially Saturday going on into Sunday. As you can see right behind me, where you see those bars getting all the way up to the widespread to the washout category. That's what we're up against as we head into the weekend. A couple showers on radar 3000 starting to develop over Minnesota and Iowa, and they'll be moving off towards the east and towards the southeast. Future Track shows those showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder knocking on the door over towards Crawford, Richland, Iowa, Lafayette, and Grant counties as early as 11, 12 o'clock overnight. We are expecting those showers to move through. Those showers will end Thursday morning, and then a warm front moves through on Friday, bringing us 70-degree weather and then stormy conditions over the weekend. The very latest on those stormy conditions in just a bit.
Sun Prairie extending its relationship with the Tenant Resource Center.
The collaboration began in 2024 to address the housing crisis. Our Tanisha Shaw spoke to city officials about what they have planned for 2025.
The first TRC satellite office outside of the city of Madison.
The Tenant Resource Center officially started working with the city of Sun Prairie in 2024.
Two-pronged approach in the city. One is we really need to increase the supply of housing. That has led to an increase in housing instability across the county. So long-term, we really just need to boost supply. So that's one of the goals with our housing policy. And then the second is to meet people where they're at right now.
TRC has a few offices in Madison and one in Sun Prairie. Last year, the nonprofit helped around 700 households in Sun Prairie alone with housing counseling.
So if a renter is having issues with their landlord, they're trying to get a repair done, the landlord isn't doing the repair, they're having issues with roommates is another common one.
Eviction diversion.
To make sure that, one, the eviction is actually legal and has standing. And then if a tenant does have to go through the eviction process, Tenant Resource Center is kind of with you every step of the way.
And outreach.
They partner with Sunshine Place, which is our well-known social service umbrella. They're doing events with them. They're also reaching out to the schools, to the social workers. They're doing community education events.
Now, TRC is looking to help even more people. Becky Benz is Sun Prairie's Housing and Equitable Development Planner. She says the partnership is funded by the city of Sun Prairie and Dane County.
Sun Prairie is providing 51.7% of the funding.
While TRC in Sun Prairie is still in its early stages, Benz wants everyone to utilize their services.
If you need to access the food pantry, they've got you there too.
Reporting in Sun Prairie, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. The Tenant Resource Center is open on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Coming up on News 3 Now at 6, the CDC prepares to make massive cuts to community health departments nationwide.
Plus, how a program at St. Vincent de Paul could help those in need of money without having to fall into a life of debt.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6. Moving forward.
Welcome back. If you have an emergency expense but can't afford to cover the cost, St. Vincent de Paul may be able to help you out with it. The nonprofit is teaming up with Lake Ridge Bank to offer what's called microloans.
And St. Vincent's micro lending program is now in its second year. So here's how it works. Madison provides small dollar, low interest loans for one-time expenses. To get a loan, you have to meet certain requirements. Those include having an emergency expense between just $400 up to $2,500, being a Dane County resident, and also having a certain income.
These loans are really intended for people who have predatory debt, an auto title loan or a payday loan. So our banking partners have helped us make a loan that is less than the prime interest rate with a long repayment period, really intended to help people have the chance to have a banking relationship, but also to have a loan payment that they can make, build their credit score, have all of those benefits that come from working with a bank.
All the information is available at svdpmadison.org/program/microlending.
State and local public health officials are bracing for some big cuts. The CDC is pulling back roughly $11 billion worth of grants earmarked for community health departments nationwide. The funds in question were allocated during the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The National Association of County and City Health Officials expects to lose about $10 million in funding. Some organizations say they expect these cuts will result in layoffs.
Well, now is the time to vote for the local veteran who you think is deserving of the Spirit of Service Award. Our partners at Vortex narrowed more than 200 nominations down to just the final 5. Voting is now open at channel3000.com through March 30th. You can look for their stories on News 3 Now and through our mobile app, and a winner will be announced on April 2nd. That person will take home $5,000 presented by Vortex.
Well, every March 26th is World Epilepsy Day, where we wear purple for the 1 in 26 people who will be diagnosed with epilepsy in their lifetime. Now, one of those people is Nora Allen, a 17-year-old from Madison who has epilepsy. Nora traveled to Washington, D.C. last week for what's called the Teens Speak Up event on Capitol Hill, working with the Epilepsy Foundation of Wisconsin. They'll be spreading awareness and advocacy. Every year, the foundation brings teenagers with epilepsy from across the country to meet with lawmakers and to learn about disability rights. Nora will now complete a year of service with the foundation, educating young people about seizure first aid and sharing her story.
And still ahead, why Coca-Cola is recalling hundreds of cans of soda right here in Wisconsin.
Plus, new research shows a concerning trend regarding childhood vaccination rates after the COVID-19 pandemic.
And rain in the forecast, but when will it get here? Alex returns the answer when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Well, as the U.S. deals with one of the largest measles outbreaks in the past decade, new research shows a concerning trend regarding childhood vaccination rates after the COVID-19 pandemic. The research shows immunization rates for some illnesses still remain lower than pre-pandemic levels. The study focused on the rotavirus vaccine, diphtheria, tetanus, the whooping cough vaccine, and the pneumococcal vaccine.
What we saw in this study, about 400,000 or so babies, looking at their vaccination rates by age 5 months, those have declined over the course of the pandemic from about 88% coverage down to 81% coverage by 2023. And by 12 months of age, these kids had still not caught up.
So the U.S. confirmed at least a dozen deaths from whooping cough last year, according to the CDC, the most deaths from that bacterial infection since 2017.
The FDA and Coca-Cola are issuing a recall on thousands of cans of soda distributed in Wisconsin and also Illinois. Now, the reason is because some of the soda may be contaminated with plastic. About 10,000 cans are involved in this recall, which was initially issued back on March 6th. That comes out to nearly 900 12-packs of 12-ounce Coke cans. So far, no word on anyone getting sick. You can find the specific product codes on the FDA website. The DNR inviting people to attend its spring hearings next month. On April 14th, residents will learn about resource management through the annual Fish and Wildlife Spring hearing process. There, people can give input on a variety of natural resource-related questions. Additionally, an online option for the public will be available at 7 p.m. For a link to where each county is holding its hearing, you can look for this story at our website, channel3000.com. Could see chances of rain later in the week. Alex rejoins us now. A complete look at the forecast.
Yeah, Eric, let's break down all of these rain chances. It actually starts tonight and then it carries forth through Friday, with the best chances Saturday going on into Sunday. You see the bars behind me here, nearly a washout expected throughout this upcoming weekend. Right now, it's planned the evening, though. Clouds will be filling on in, temperatures falling through the 40s. As we get a little bit further into the evening, temperatures still in the 40s when you join us for our 10 o'clock newscast. A couple of showers are expected, with the best chances of those showers after midnight tonight in the Madison area, but sooner for areas north and west of Madison. On radar 3000 right now, there's nothing out there. As we zoom on out, though, looking off towards the north and towards the west over Minnesota and parts of Iowa, we got rain showers on the way to southern Wisconsin, and here we see those knocking on the door with our future track model. By the time we get to 10, 11 o'clock, we'll be tracking those showers during the 10 o'clock newscast. Can't rule out a little bit of thunder with this area of showers, and this is batch number 1 out of several batches of showers that's going to affect southern Wisconsin the next couple couple of days. Severe weather threat not out of the question as we go on into Friday. Buddy and Blaze will be here. We're watching for the potential for maybe an isolated storm later Friday with hail as a warm front moves north through southern Wisconsin. So here's that warm front moving towards the north as we go into Friday morning. Savannah will be here. Some small hail not out of the question with those storms. Then we break into partly sunny skies, strong southwest breezes, warm temperatures on Friday. And we watch that front then work its way back south on Saturday as strong winds come in out of the east and out of the northeast off of Lake Michigan. And that's helping to keep the severe weather at bay on Saturday with yet more rain and possibly mixing with wet snow on the end of this weather system. Sunday night going on into Monday with some slushy snow accumulations not out of the question. We'll be keeping an eye on that potential as well over the course of the next few days. Lots of water, 1 to 2 inches. This just updated right now, so expect this to be a washout that's certainly going to help out our drought conditions. A little bit more about how Lake Michigan is helping out with the severe weather threat. We don't need any severe weather, we need the rain, but that warm front placement is key. Lake Michigan has cool air above the surface of the water. When that cool air comes into southern Wisconsin, it pushes warm fronts to the south, and that's what it looks like it will do on Saturday, helping to lower that severe weather risk. Tonight, temperatures upper 30s, right around 40. Just that chance of a shower or two as we get, especially towards the midnight hour and beyond. As we move into Thursday, we will break into partly sunny skies after some of those morning showers. A warmer day as that warmer tries to push towards southern Wisconsin. How about upper 50s to near 60 on Versailles? And then here's the full 10-day forecast. 75 on Friday, record set back in 1986 to 76, so we'll be close to that. Rain on Saturday, rain changing possibly to some wet snow Sunday going on into Monday. So a very unsettled period ahead, but beneficial amounts of moisture that we desperately need, and more rain chances as we head out into next week as the weather pattern stays active. Well, get your phone out right now, scan that QR code. A little bit of nice stuff here. Look at Lake Wabisa here. Mary sending us this reflection of the moon on Lake Wabisa. If you scan that QR code, it links it right up to our portal of photos, so we can show, just like Mary's photo here, your weather photos in southern Wisconsin.
Alex, thank you. We do have some breaking news. Charges are now being filed against a man nearly 6 months after a missing McFarland woman was found dead. James Barnes Morris is being charged with first-degree intentional homicide with a domestic abuse modifier. It's related to the death of Brooke Stratton. On October 3rd, Stratton's body was found near a retention pond near Monroe Street in Madison. Barnes Morris was taken into custody on October 3rd. The search warrant says he was found hiding in the basement of a friend's house and had a suitcase filled with Stratton's credit cards and her cell phone. His initial court appearance is set for Friday, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. The Milwaukee Bucks are back in action tonight when they take on the Denver Nuggets. However, they'll be without their two biggest stars. Giannis will miss the game because of a sprained left foot. He's played in all 18 games since the All-Star break. Meanwhile, the Bucks learned yesterday that guard Damian Lillard will be out indefinitely due to blood clots in his right calf. The Bucks are confident, though, Lillard will be back for the playoffs. This game is an important one for both teams as they fight for playoff seeding in both conferences. You can watch the game tonight at 8 o'clock on Television Wisconsin. The pregame starts at 7:30.
Well, the Wisconsin men's basketball team will look a lot different next season with several seniors and graduates leaving the program, and now they'll have to replace yet another player. Junior guard Cameron Hunter has entered the transfer portal. Hunter transferred to Wisconsin just last season from Central Arkansas. He played in just 10 games this past season for the Badgers. Well, coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 10, potential federal cuts to HIV research and prevention efforts. Our Maddie Heimsch speaks to local HIV advocates and caretakers who rely on that funding. How one of those advocates says these cuts could be catastrophic and even deadly. Again, that's coming your way tonight. Join us for News 3 Now at 10.
And now we have a final check on the forecast. Some much needed rain coming our way.
Beneficial rains, finally a period this spring over the winter. It's been a dry winter, dry fall even. and we now have a period, a stretch of appreciable amount of water heading to southern Wisconsin. Showers as early as tonight, lasting through Thursday morning. Warm front comes through on Friday, bringing maybe a morning thunderstorm, but then over the weekend, it's just going to be a complete washout. Rain, a couple of thunderstorms, maybe even mixing with and changing over to a little bit of wet snow. Here's tonight, upper 30s to right around 40 degrees. Showers moving in as we head towards the 10 o'clock newscast. We'll have radar 3000 when you join us again tonight at 10. As we go into Thursday, beautiful day temperature-wise after morning. Showers clear out, nearing 60 degrees for high temperature. Look at our average high up at the top of the screen there, 48. So we're making leaps and bounds at those temperatures, and then we leap into big-time rain chances as we head towards the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Heavy rain changing over to some snow on Sunday. Coming up at 10, we'll have the very latest future track projection of that weather system on Saturday, and we'll talk about the threat for the possibility of where that severe weather also may set up with that particular weather system. That's coming up at 10. Following that weather system, and then that snow ending Monday morning, we get a little break and then more rain in the forecast Wednesday going into Thursday. So for those folks that want the water, I know our farmers need the water. We have plenty of water, at least 2 inches in some areas by the time we get to Monday.
Awesome.
All right, Alex, thanks. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
See you at 10 o'clock.